Because they won the Super Bowl.
You don't want that smoke.
Can I read you the list of teams that could potentially be in that first game?
Read it.
Commanders,
Okay.
Cowboys, Giants, Bears, Lions, Raiders, Rams, Broncos. Out of all those teams, if you're the NFL, who are you putting in there?
Lions.
Lions or Commanders.
I'm saying you would see what our healthy defense, how many
That'd be a great game. Those are the two best rosters in pro
Well,
football.
would you rather see Lions or Commanders?
I would rather see Lions. Yeah, because Commanders are bringing in a bunch of free agents and draft picks. I think they could be great. They're not going to be great in the first week. Jaden's not going to play much in the preseason. They're going to have like 8 draft picks. They're going to rely on them to play. Free agents. They got tons of cap space. Washington's going to be really good. Don't be shocked if they're not great in September.
But what about the Lions? They lose both coordinators, right? You don't think that's significant? We saw the Eagles pull back when they lost both coordinators.
They got a bunch of dudes that have played together. Now, they may go backwards. They'll be great early. Will they be great at the end of the season, or will their coordinators, and this happened. Remember when Philadelphia had new coordinators?
Yeah.
And they came off a great season? They were very good early. But over the course of a season, people found weaknesses on film with the coordinators who both got fired. So Detroit's going to be good early. We'll find out if the coordinators are as good as Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, because the coaching is so good in the NFL. If they're not good by Thanksgiving, they'll be exposed.
Okay, I feel like we don't watch the games anymore. Okay, oh man, there's so many different directions that I want to take this in. First off, I get the competitive spirit. I get it. We have Dak Prescott saying stuff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, to be fair. I do. I think he's awesome. And I think the Detroit Lions are a great team. I do. But this whole you wait to face us when our defense is healthy. Yeah. Okay. Dude, the Philadelphia Eagles put on a clinic throughout this whole playoff run, throughout the whole season. In the Super Bowl, obviously. You gotta just tip your hat, man. I know you could say, you could be excited to face them, but also opening night, first off, we know the Detroit Lions do they go as hard as they can, as early as they can. They push the limits. And they don't hold back. And the Eagles are the opposite. And so, yeah, a team like the Detroit Lions will start off stronger than maybe, say, like a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. But we know one of those big cliches. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, the Detroit Lions, because of the way how they go about business, were decimated with injuries. The Philadelphia Eagles, who have been very progressive with their pulsing of hard and intense and light workouts. They've done that since Nick Sirianni came on board. I've had 2 of the healthiest rosters in the NFL. And both of those healthiest roster years, they went to the Super Bowl. And they won the Super Bowl. And they dominated in the Super Bowl. And they dominated in the NFC Championship game. And their offense dominated the Washington Commanders, hanging 55 points. I don't care how bad your defense was, Detroit Lions, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't even do that against the Minnesota Vikings. That was actually a close game. Until it wasn't, because then the Vikings couldn't do anything offensively. Even against a bad defense. An injured defense. So you can bring that fire all you want. You can act like week 1. Yeah, because the reason why I'm pushing back on this, because this is the nonsense where you're going to be like, if the Eagles lose week 1 or something like that, they're like, oh, see, if the Lions were healthy, they were really the best team last season. Okay. Part of being a great team is also being able to stay healthy and being resilient. I'm not denying that the Lions faced their share of injuries. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that if the Lions weren't fully healthy, that they would have potentially been able to beat the Commanders and, they would have been then hosted the NFC Championship. I'm not trying to argue against that. And if that's what you need to tell yourself to keep you motivated or help process what happened, that's fine. But the reality is you were healthy last year and you didn't get to the Super Bowl. You couldn't beat the 49ers. Not last year, like the year before. Like there's a difference. When the Philadelphia Eagles got their new quarterback, their new coach and stuff, they built a team that then went to the Super Bowl. They had a down year, and then they went to the Super Bowl again and then won. So once they got their new regime, 2 out of those 4 years, Super Bowls, NFC Championship games. That's the difference. And you have to accept that. You have to understand that. It's okay. But the energy that Amon-Ra St. Brown is bringing is kind of like, yeah, then we'll see what's up. And it's like, no, we won't, because it's a new year. And what happens next year doesn't invalidate the year before. The Kansas City Chiefs got rocked. That doesn't invalidate the fact that they just won 2 Super Bowls before. That's not how it works. Does it add a little bit of fuel to the idea that the Philadelphia Eagles should have and would have won the Super Bowl in 22? Maybe. We won't touch that. That's fine. We'll let the past be the past. As like the Eagles had one of those videos where it was like, people, Saquon Barkley, Cooper DeJean, etc. came there to not fix the past, but to, write the present, or, whatever the heck the quote was. But like, I don't know, man. It's just, that's that swagger that Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, like, that's their culture. And I get it. I really, really do. I get it. And I've praised it. But it's just a weird look to do that a few days after the Eagles did what they did. Like, that's a different thing. Your defense, even when it was healthy, never showed the ability to do what the Philadelphia Eagles did. Like, that's the difference. The Eagles had the number 1 defense all year long. All year long. The Detroit Lions were ranked 5th, which is pretty good. But the Eagles were head and shoulders better than everyone. They were 91.2. The Kansas City Chiefs, the second best, were 79.5. Guys, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. So, the bravado that some of these other teams are bringing, it's not competitive to me. It's just kind of absurd to me. Like with Dak Prescott and now this, and this, again, to be very clear, this isn't like the worst thing ever, right? Like, I'm not being like, oh my God, I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown. What are you doing? You're a clown. Like, I'm not saying that at all. It's just the fact that the Eagles, the way how the season unfolded, it's one thing if they squeaked out a win, 21-14 or something like that. I could understand. But the Philadelphia Eagles just put up one of the most dominant, Super Bowl performances of all time. And you're like, yeah, let's play you when we have our full defense. And it's like, you're so sure you're going to win because you blew out the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, okay. I mean, maybe if the Lions went to a Super Bowl, like in 23 or something, then I could like understand. I could kind of feel that. But they dropped the ball. They did. They dropped the ball against the 49ers. That's on them. That was on them. Like when the Eagles came up short, they came up short in the Super Bowl by 3 points to a last-minute field goal. That's the difference. And then within a year, they were back in the Super Bowl. And then they dominated. That's the difference. And now what Colin is saying about the Philadelphia Eagles being great, no, their record was great. Their record was great, but they were not playing great. So it wasn't like, oh, then other teams just started to find the deficits in the coordinators. No, they didn't. That's not exactly how their season unfolded. And I'm not going to unpack this too much because who cares at this point? Because the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl in one of the most dominant performances in NFL history with the most playoff points scored in playoff history through a playoff run with the most points scored ever in a conference championship game. So we don't have to talk about what happened in 23 because it's irrelevant. But that wasn't like this great high-functioning team that then other teams just were able to expose. They were not playing high-quality football. And they were banged up. And so things were just, and they had bad coordinators. They just did not have it all together. So it wasn't just like, oh, you know, when you get new coordinators, you start off strong. Like, I don't know about that. That's not true. Why don't you look at the team that literally won the Super Bowl this year, who got 2 new coordinators? It took them a minute or two. They had a bunch of rookies. They had new pieces. They had Saquon Barkley, who they had to figure out how to work with. Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts were learning each other. A.J. Brown went down. Fangio had to figure out, okay, what can I do with this group of guys? What can I do with these rookies? What can I do with Vaughn, etc.? These things take a second or two. I don't know. I know I'm a broken record at this point because it's been like this, honestly. I don't want to say all season long, but definitely since the playoffs. Definitely since the playoffs. All the conversations around the Philadelphia Eagles have really just kind of been absurd. And I even like, you know, expressed to everyone like the weekend, you know, of the Super Bowl when I was finishing up with all the videos. I was just like I'm burned out by the types of discussions that are being had about, right, like literally like the date, like, you know, the Friday, the weekend going into the Super Bowl. Like, we had a segment on like banning the tush push. I'm just like, I just don't understand what we're doing here right now, you know. And it was so mind numbing. And then like now, even our evaluation of how this season unfolded or how they won or what happened in the year previously, like we're still just like not there. We're not having accurate discussions about what we even just witnessed a mere few days ago. Like I don't fully understand it. I don't fully grasp it. And again, you have other players like you have Dak Prescott saying that they're close to the Eagles, which is obviously just absurd. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown trying to be like, yeah, wait till we face you with a better defense. And it's like, bro, they just won the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts did everything that Jared Goff did not do. Right? Like, your offense was there. And I don't know what your offense was doing. I don't know what Jared Goff was doing. I don't know what the game plan was from Ben Johnson. I don't know what was those play calls. Having wide receivers, when the game was still technically in the balance, having a wide receiver launch the ball down the field for an interception. Like, that was poor execution, which I talked about in the breakdown of that. So if you just want to say, oh, it was all defense, okay, sure. That obviously hurt you. But then you were not ready to play against the Washington Commanders. Your offense was not ready to play against the Washington Commanders. Your offense came up short against the Washington Commanders. The Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts did not. And against a significantly better defense, against the Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Hurts and that offense was nearly flawless. So again, if you want to reduce it just to some defensive injuries, by all means do it. But you're wrong. If you lost a crazy game that was like, 45-42 to the Commanders, and I would say, yeah, man, defense is rough. That's a bummer. That's not what happened. that offense was disconnected from the jump. From the jump. That's on y'all. Not on defensive injuries. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the challenge from the Detroit Lions to the Philadelphia Eagles? Two teams that I honestly really like. I believe that the Detroit Lions will be good, so to be very clear about that. But what do you guys all think about challenging the team that just won the Super Bowl a mere few days after the Super Bowl and acting like, yeah, we're going to beat them? Okay. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way. Let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.